Welcome to another edition of Dish It Out. I'm Chef Frank Benowitz, and of course, the one, the only, Chef Doug Fee.
Welcome. It's good to see you all. Thank you for joining us. We're going to have a wonderful show for you today, and it's lots of carbs on the menu.
Of course it's a wonderful show. It's the two of us.
Let's not get carried away here.
Oh.
The stars of the show are going to be actually the recipes we're doing today, so we got some outstanding product here.
And they're all involving the key ingredient of bread.
Exactly.
Bread, does that mean I get a raise?
No.
Oh.
It means you get to make bread.
Well, it's a close second.
We're actually going to make a bread. We're going to make a quick bread today, and then we're going to utilize some bread in a breakfast strata. And then Chef Frank is going to make...
I'm going to make some stuffing. What better comfort food using leftover bread than making some stuffing? So we'll make some stuffing today.
Sounds good. So all carbs, just for you. Stick around. We'll be right back. All right, now it's time for the fun part. Well, not your favorite part, but the fun part. We actually get to start cooking here today.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to fire up our burners here. We're gonna actually...
Seems like a rocket, yeah. Nassau,
So,
West Windsor, we hopefully don't have a problem.
well, let's hope not. Are you done now?
Oh, no.
Okay. We're going to start off. We're going to saute some of our ingredients for both our stuffing and for our breakfast strata. So for our breakfast strata, first we're going to use some whole butter because I really don't have to heat a very high temperature. If I had to hit a high temperature, I'd use some clarified butter, but I really don't. We're just going to let this butter melt in here. And our ingredients for this, the thing I like about this breakfast strata is that you can utilize leftover ingredients.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So in this particular case, and you know what a breakfast strata is, right?
It's Eric
No,
Chips.
no, not that strata.
Favorite breakfast? No?
No, it's what basically breakfast strata is where quiche meets bread pudding.
Oh,
So we got the nice custard and the bread, but we also have some nice ingredients for our egg for our quiche.
that's not on the highway where Chips is involved, no?
Not even close. All right, so I'm going to start here. I'm going to add probably about one shallot. Our shallots here were big, so one shallot's going to do it for us. And the reason I'm sauteing these off first, because you were about to ask that, why am I sauteing these off first?
Yes, why are you about to saute those all first?
Because we're going to add this to our egg and half combination, which is going to be our custard.
Just going all out, using the whole top of the shiitake there?
That's it, exactly. Now, if I was using button mushrooms, I might cut them up, but these will lay flat on here, so this should be nice. What we're going to do is just let these saute off. All right, and actually, I noticed you had some bacon over here.
I do.
Good.
Well, hey,
Just a little bit,
big on.
That's the thing about the strata. You can mix and match ingredients and make it whatever flavor and combination that you want.
Huh.
So, all right, I'm done. Your turn.
I'm gonna do the same thing. Utilizing leftovers. We did an episode with omelets once that you prepared omelets with leftovers. Soups, another great thing that chefs like to use for leftovers. But why not stuffing, right? So you had your butter, as Haywood would say, with a little butter in it. You'd eat it. I hope
Okay.
you will, though. That's the butter.
Carefully measured amount of butter.
Absolutely. One big ass pat. We allowed to say that on this TV?
Well, we already have one on the set, so why not?
Yeah, but I didn't put the word Jack in front of it, right?
You don't know Jack.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I do know there's a lot of butter. So I'm going to go ahead and, equivalent to the kitchen sink, everything that I have left over in the fridge. I have some carrot, I have some mushroom, I have some celery, some onion, basic mirepoix, carrot, celery, onion, some red pepper. I also have some meats, as you mentioned, some bacon, and some andouille sausage that I have
nice.
left over. What do you do with that one link? You have a barbecue or something. It's a great way to utilize a lot of this stuff up. I'm putting a lot of butter in here, but I'm also going to use leftover cornbread. So you'll get to see that later. I'll mix it with the cornbread. And a little fresh sage from the local farm. So it seems like a lot of butter, and it is, but this is also going to generate probably 6 to 8 portions. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start my carrots in here because they're going to take the longest. I'll get those. And how are your shrooms doing?
They're doing good. We're about ready here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some white wine. And the key to this I like cooking with white wine, but it's not high enough octane to really get a good fire from it.
No.
So
Well, that may be
no
good.
special effects for this. So, and I'm also going to add some spinach. I'm going to wait to add the spinach because with the spinach, we don't want too much moisture in with our eggs because it gets all soggy.
Exactly.
So what I'm going to do is wait for this to become al sec, one of our favorite French terms. Al sec, just about dry, when all that moisture to disappear. If I put in my spinach too soon, it's going to absorb all that moisture, and then we don't want that to happen.
And does it matter whether you use a fresh spinach or a frozen spinach?
No, actually, this is a frozen spinach.
Yeah.
Frozen chopped spinach. Keep it simple.
And something you may actually have in the freezer already, too. Add my onions in now, try to get some little caramelization on those
There you
bamboo.
go. All right. Dueling saute pans here.
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? Since you borrowed a little of mine, if you don't mind,
No, I don't mind at all.
since
Okay.
you're not using it, right? This is leftovers of leftovers now.
Second life. Okay, so all I'm going to do with this is let it cool off. So let it
That's
hang out
it?
for a bit. Well, for now.
Oh, okay.
So, ooh, look at that. Saute,
Yes.
of course. Literal translation is to jump.
Absolutely. Well, made a jump. I'm gonna do a little salt in here. Again, this is to taste. A lot of product in here. I'm not gonna put too much because I got the bacon in the andouille going in, and some fresh ground black pepper. As we always say, fresh ground's always better.
Okay.
I'm gonna save my mushrooms for last because they have a lot of water content.
Right?
But this is the predominant amount of thyme. I also had a little bit of apple left over. You know, since I'm using the andouille and the bacon, I want to balance it out.
Sure.
A little sweetness.
Good.
So I have enough in this pan?
I think you do. But wait, there's more.
Exactly. It's the only way that I'm going to get my vegetables, right?
The other thing, too, is once the
Color,
stuffing is
too.
made, this will actually freeze pretty nicely.
Well, absolutely. You know what I was going to do with it?
No, what?
Dare you ask?
Yeah, right, yes.
I was going to take pieces of it and roll them up into balls and throw them in the deep fryer.
Ah,
Maybe put a little ground beef mixture, cooked ground beef
There you
mixture,
go.
taco. Just some leftover taco meat, throw that in there.
some melted cheese. We got some cheese hanging out in there. Some
Absolutely.
grated cheese in there.
Not a huge fan of cheese, but you know what? For other people, I'm sure they would like that. Throw a little more pepper in there. But this is the predominant part of my stuffing is really just getting this cooked because the cornbread's already cooked, it's dried out. Add some stock to it later. It'll be done. Fuji apple, local. Again, something sitting around the fridge. You can put anything you want. You can put fennel, you can put other things. So, celery, carrots, onion, apple, mushroom I threw in there, that andouille sausage, a little slab bacon that was left over, a little
Oh, yeah.
dice on that, and a little the beautiful fresh sage also from a local farm. And that's about it. Just some salt and pepper to season it. Again, anything you want to admit, you can admit. Anything you want to add, you can add. It's a beautiful thing, right?
All right.
Leftovers.
Beautiful.
Finish off with a little more fresh ground black pepper. I'm not going to put too much extra salt in because I got the bacon, I got the andouille.
Right.
And also I'm going to have the chicken stock.
All right.
I'm just going to pour a little of that chicken stock in, and then essentially I'm done. I just have to mix this in with my cornbread, and that's it.
All right. So what's next is we're going to come back right after this, and we're going to put together and assemble our dishes.
Beautiful thing.
We'll be back right after this.
Experience exciting new flavors at the Culinary Center at Mercer. Learn from top chefs in the industry. Gain hands-on experience in our state-of-the-art kitchens. Acquire the knowledge and skills necessary for a successful career in the culinary arts. To learn more, call the number on your screen, the Culinary School at Mercer. We have the recipe for your success.
All right, so now it's time to assemble our dishes here.
Before we assemble it, though, I don't know if you can get that aroma. It really is time for them to turn up that smell-o-vision.
Yes, yes, if you say so.
We have some great aromas.
Okay, actually, it does smell really good. The smokiness from the bacon. Yeah.
We got beer
I hate to
bread
say it,
out
but
there.
you're right.
Oh, hey! Oh, did you get that?
All right. All right, so after you.
Oh, well, mine's very simple. So I have, if you remember, this is actually left over from our ACF dinner that we
That's
did,
right.
that farm-to-table dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So anything that wasn't served that day, we threw in the freezer. You know, why waste it? This beautiful cornbread that that Pam made for us that day. So we didn't want to waste it. Just gonna crumble it up, throw a bunch in here. I'm gonna save a little bit just in case I need to tighten up my texture. You can also use this as some corn breadcrumbs, right?
Sure.
So, got that going on. I got my gloves on so I can use my best tools, right?
There you go.
Let's break that up a little bit. Nicey nice.
While you're doing that, I'm just going to butter some stale bread here.
You're not going to be eating that now, are you? 'Cause
No.
that's my favorite, you know? Not buttered bread, just eating. All right, especially all these carbs, right? So I'm mixing up these vegetables and the andouille sausage, the bacon, and that's really all stuffing is. You know, it's bread, obviously,
Well, that's a key ingredient, that's for sure.
preferably leftover and stale, and some vegetables and whatever else you want to add to it. I have my pan here nice and buttered because I like to put mine in the oven afterwards. Gonna add my chicken stock, as you would say, carefully measured amount.
Exactly.
Enough to make it the texture that you like, whether you want it wet, dry. That's why I saved a little of the cornbread there in case I want to tighten it up, make it a little drier. So mine's essentially just about ready, and I can put it in the pan. And you know what I'm going to put on top of it? I have here. You know, what do you do with those leftover potato chips and pretzels at the end? You know, the little bits in the bag.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
I'm gonna put a little pretzel crumb just for a little extra flavor and texture.
There you go.
A little
So
crunch.
that's why you're cutting back on the salt.
Yeah, well, you know,
Very good. Wile E. Coyote, I got that one.
see every once in a while. So,
I have to say, it smells better than it looks.
yeah, it's not looking so appetizing at this point.
Not
is
so
it?
much.
So I'm gonna tighten up a little bit more of this, and are you going on to your next step?
I am indeed. So I have my bread here, just some French bread. And if it's stale, that's great. If it's not stale, you can just put it on a sheet pan like we did here and just pop it in a warm oven for 45 minutes to an hour, 250 degrees in that neighborhood. And what I did is I buttered this bread, and I'm going to line this
Is that a saying?
dish.
You buttered your bread.
I did indeed.
Or is it buttered your toast? Or is it butter your biscuit? I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
apparently not. All right, so we have our stale bread. We're going to line this pan, and the butter here is just going to add a little bit of flavor. All right, and we're just going to, well, I guess that doesn't all want to fit in there, so
It's like heart shaped. Was that from me?
let's not get too carried away here. You know, I mean, goodness. I'm giving you that look that I usually give to my kids when they're in trouble. Like, really? All right. So we have our basics down here, which is like our bread pudding. And in some strata recipes, what they're actually going to do is they'll have you cube up the bread, but not this one.
What about the Eric Estrada one? Does that have chocolate chips in it?
You know, I told you put anything you want in here, but I don't think I'd be putting any chips in here.
Does anybody watch that show anymore? Is that still in rerun?
Rerun was a different show.
Hey,
All right,
hey.
so I'm going to be breaking some eggs here. I'm going with half a dozen.
It's better than breaking some wind, right?
Give me a P. What's the P on here for? Quick quiz.
What's the P on there? There better not be any P on there. What are these students doing?
Ah,
Oh, the red P. Oh, I'm sorry. That's pasteurized.
pasteurized eggs, which means they're whole eggs.
So we could eat it raw like Rocky. Hey, Adrian, pass over the pasteurized eggs.
You're welcome to. I don't know that I would. All right, so we have half a dozen eggs in here, and different recipes. When you're basically making a custard here, we'll call for sometimes it's a dozen eggs and 8 egg whites, and then a certain amount of milk or cream. This one, 6 eggs, and a cup and 3/4 of half and half.
Oh, nice. Nice. You know, what's that saying you always say about doesn't have to be complicated to be good, right?
No, it certainly doesn't. All right, and here we have a cup and a half of cheese, and I just use whatever cheese you got hanging out, like cheddar, Swiss, whatever you might like. Let's go ahead and toss it in, or a combination thereof. So I happen to have some Monterey Jack.
And we could do that with this stuffing too if we wanted, you know, if there was leftover cheese, throw it in there,
Exactly.
whatever you're into.
Exactly. All right. And these are our mushrooms and spinach.
I
A
remember
little bit
those.
of bacon and some scallions. And
I remember the
put that
bacon
right in there.
specifically.
all right. So we had to cool that off so we don't have scrambled egg custard in here.
No, that wouldn't be as good, would it?
Nowhere near as good. All right. And you know, I have to say, this doesn't look real appetizing either, does it?
No.
No,
But-
so we're just going to take it, we're going to pour it right on over. And typically this dish will be prepared a day in advance.
Would you prepare it completely in advance?
Just
Or-
like this,
or-
right in
or-
advance.
So
Completely
prep
like
it
this.
and have it ready to go and then put it in the oven the next day?
Exactly. And
It
what I would
soaks
do,
that up?
yeah, we want our bread to soak this all up. So what I do is I cover some plastic wrap. And actually I might put something on top of it, put the plastic wrap on first, naturally, and put something on
Like
top
a piece
of
of
it
ham?
to hold it down. Piece of ham, sure, why not? Piece of bacon. Now something with some weight to it. So basically we would refrigerate that overnight.
Okay.
All right, or for at least an hour, let it soak up some of the flavors. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pop this into an oven, about 350 degrees. It's going to take about an hour. And
Yeah, mine won't take
that's
that
the easy
long.
part.
Just put a little pretzel crumb on mine, and I'll put it in that same 350 oven. This is already ready to eat, so you don't have to cook this if it's the texture and flavors that you want. But again, how else am I going to use up these leftover pretzel potato chip crumbs, you know?
I'm sure you'd think of something.
I would.
You would indeed.
I would just lick the bag with them. So I'm going to put this in the
Don't
oven
put
as
that
well.
image in my head, please.
This is going in the oven too.
We're going to be back in just a minute, and we're going to show you how to make our beer bread, a quick bread, right after this. So now it's time to put together a quick bread, and it goes together quickly.
And I see the beer's
Good
out.
thing. The beer is out, and with beer bread, typically a lot of times it's a good idea to use a light lager. You don't want something too heavy or too hoppy. But the other thing with with your beers is you don't want something really dark either. So we have our can opener here. Score.
Oh,
Okay.
do I have to drink since you got it in?
You should get bonus points for that. Okay. So we have about 2.5 cups of flour,
Okay.
and you know how I feel about sifting.
Absolutely.
Ta-da! It's
Not a-
sifted.
not
I
a
know
necessity.
my pastry instructors don't like that, but
But look
There
at
it
the
goes.
end result. That's a beautiful
it
looking
is.
bread.
It is.
Can't argue.
All right, we're going to add a teaspoon of salt in here, and 4 teaspoons of baking powder. So we're using baking powder instead of yeast for our leavening agent, so it is quick.
Well, at least you're measuring these things. You know,
Yeah,
they have to be proud of that, right?
Exactly. Once in a while I do that. And we have a 1/4 cup of sugar here.
Oh,
All right,
sugar.
carefully sift and blend these together, along with 1 cup of shredded cheese. More cheese. This is going to be a cheesy beer bread.
And originally you were going to do cheddar in there, which would have been very nice, but we didn't have cheddar, so
We didn't. But you know, actually, it's probably going to work out better with the Monterey Jack because cheddar can sometimes be so oily.
that's true.
You know, so this might give us a nicer product.
But maybe you
So.
could do a little of both if you wanted, right?
Whatever you got hanging out, shred it up. As long as it equals a cup, it'll work in this recipe.
There you go.
All right. And now into this, we're going to add our beer.
Oh,
So
it's the good stuff too.
I'm not going to add quite all of it because I'm going to see how it looks. If it's looking too, just like with your stuffing, if it looks like it's too moist, I can't get any beer out of it. So I'm going to hold back.
You can always add more. You can't subtract.
it.
Same with salt and pepper, right?
Exactly. We can order another round if need be. We're also going to add, all right, some butter here. We got about 4 tablespoons of butter in here.
Put a little
2
butter
ounces,
in it.
a little butter. All right, so we're just going to stir this up, and we're going to mix it, making sure we get from the bottom of the bowl here, and we want it till it just holds together. So basically, I'm turning it over from the bottom here and pressing it together. It smells pretty good.
It does. It almost looks like a biscuit though, too.
It does. So it's a little too dry.
Mhm.
So more beer.
Hey, why not? What's it called?
Well, beer bread, exactly.
You better put some more beer in there. Yeah.
Make Homer, if it was Duff beer, we could make some Homer Simpson bread. but-
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay, so we can see we got there we go, a nice consistency, and you don't want to overmix this bread.
what's gonna happen if you overmix it?
It gets too tough.
Oh,
You want it tender. Let's have
tender bread.
a standard loaf pan here, and all we're going to do is I grease the pan,
Yes.
all right, and we're going to take our
Is that more money talk?
dough.
Like greasing the palm, greasing the bread?
Not quite. There we go.
Oh, look at that. Look, that's a nice looking dough.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Maybe a little on the wet side, but that's okay. it'll bake off. All right, it's going to go in a 350-degree oven, coincidentally. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put a little butter along the top here.
Oh.
Spread that around. That'll give us a nice golden brown finish on the top.
Could you do egg wash on there too?
You could, but that, you know, it's going to expand,
Mm-hmm.
and so the egg wash is going to,
Not so pretty.
yeah, when it's done, it'll look kind of crummy. We're going to pop this in the oven, and when we come back, it'll be your favorite part.
Time to eat.
Time to eat. Stick around for more Dish It Out. All right, Frank, we finally made it to your favorite part of the show.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Let's get to it.
Okay. So we have here your stuffing.
The kitchen sink stuffing, all the leftovers, right?
Exactly. And we have our breakfast strata, which also could be utilizing all kinds of leftovers, ham, bacon, sun-dried tomatoes, you name it, cheese of your choice, throw it on in there.
So pretty much the only thing that we actually made with the true intent and purpose of ingredients was
Our beer bread, our cheesy beer bread.
a good way to use leftover beer, I guess.
You
No?
leftover beer at your house. Well, that's it from this episode of Dish It Out. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
All right.
Still nice and warm.
It is.
Mm.